Okay, Booking the Territory podcast fans. Today I have on an up-and-coming women's wrestler, and you heard me right. I said women's wrestler, not a diva, because I know she hates that term. I have on Ruby Raze out of Hollywood, California, the Santino Brothers Dojo. Ruby, what is going on tonight?
Tonight in California, we're just trying not to bake because it's been like the high 90s out here, and it's October, so just trying not to melt.
Yeah, I feel that. I was actually talking to my wife about that earlier because I'm from New Orleans, but I live in the Dallas area now, and it was 95 today. And she's like, what are you complaining about? I'm like, it's October freaking 14th. What the hell do you think I'm complaining about? I'm a little salty. It shouldn't be this hot out there. She's like, it's always like that. No, it's not. The average temperature right now should be damn near 80, not freaking 95. I need to be able to go out in my garage and do cardio on a treadmill without, losing 2 gallons of water while I'm out there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I feel your saltiness on that issue, if you will. Hey, so yeah, I just wanted to sit back and talk to you. I've been trying to actually get to you for a while. It's just that one thing I started this almost 6 months ago, and I'm like, before I knew it, I just started like I had this one on and that one on, and I'm like, people telling me, hey, you got to talk to Ruby Raze. You got to talk to Ruby Raze. I know. It's just when you're only doing one show a month, though, it's only, one show a week. You can't get to everybody at once. So
right.
I'm glad you found some time for me tonight. So I appreciate you coming on the show.
Definitely. My Wednesdays are usually okay, so that's kind of like my day off of training. So this is a good time.
Cool. That works for me then. All right. So I read your bio a little bit about you literally got in a car and went to California, if I'm reading it correctly. So you're not originally from there, or am I reading it wrong?
Yeah, I'm actually from California, born and raised in the 805 up here, and the people in California will know what that means. But I'm born and raised in the 805. At one given point, I actually got in a car and I drove to Oklahoma.
Okay.
I drove to Oklahoma, and a drive to Oklahoma turned into 7 months of living in Oklahoma and being around the wrestling scene in Oklahoma and meeting Tyler Bateman and trying to convince him to come out to California to try wrestling out here. And I came back, and then probably about half a year later, he came out to California to take his hand out here and see what he's got. And he was out here, and I started managing for Violence Unlimited, which was Tyler Bateman, Ryan Drago, who is now Simon Gotch on NXT, and Funny Bone. And that's actually how I got my start, was the promoter Gary Yap from Epic War put me in a position to be a valet for them, and that turned into more of a managerial position, and then the group split up, and it was me and Tyler Bateman, and basically that's how I got my start. I was pretty much young boyed into the business as a manager for 5 years before I started actually training to be a wrestler instead of just managing. Yeah.
That's what I was reading on your site. So and that happened. You actually made your debut. Was it in 2013? Did I read that right? As a wrestler, I mean.
Yeah, as a wrestler, yeah, because I had a match as a manager, a singles match as a manager, in 2012. Actually, the day that the Aztec calendar ended, I had a singles match against Chris Evans, IWL, multiple-time champion. And that was actually what inspired me to go ahead and push forward and get actual wrestling training, to not just be a manager who also knows somewhat how to wrestle, but to be a wrestler who wrestles.
Gotcha. I got you. So you had said on your bio, you talked about you were a fan growing up. So you're from California. What promotions growing up were you into? And I always ask my guests that because I'm born in the 70s, so I grew up on Bill Watts' Mid-South in New Orleans. So I grew up on that, and then we also got the Vine Erics out of Texas, WCCW, back in my day. The territories were still alive and kicking when I was 10 years old, 11 years old. So times have changed though now. I mean, basically it's like WWE ROH is popular too. But so growing up, you had said you were a fan. Who and what were you a fan of though at that point?
This is probably the non-typical answer, but as as a little Raze growing up, I was actually a huge fan of Glow, the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling.
Yeah.
And that's not to say like I didn't watch WWF at the time, because I did. Obviously, Sherry Martel was like a huge, huge inspiration for me.
Yep.
More than people think. But a lot of I really loved Roddy Piper, Ultimate Warrior and all them growing up. But it was actually Glow. It was the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling that made me a huge fan of wrestling. I really think it's because they put females in the upfront position, and they were always in power positions, no matter what scenario. And it was at the time, it was, always seeing females in power and always seeing females giving it to, the guys and to each other. But watching it now in retrospective, it was a lot of female power, but it wasn't just in the ring. It was female power over your sexuality, over who you want to be, over what you're going to do with your life, over who could tell you what and what not to do. And granted, yeah, they wore very, very skimpy clothing and sometimes the lingerie and stuff like that. But just as a young girl, seeing females in such powerful positions and out there in the wrestling ring doing what they were doing, and basically, with what they were giving their all, was what made me a huge fan, because it was that connection and seeing that, hey, there's another female out there and they're doing this thing. Well, I could do that too,
Yeah, no, you're actually telling your age when you tell me you watch Glow, because like back in New Orleans growing up, I used to get in trouble because the Von Erichs WCCW came on at 10:35, literally at the time it started, right after the news on a Sunday night, and Glow came on after them, and I used to try to, I'd stay up and get my ass whooped by my mama for staying up.
Out here we had Glow Saturday mornings at there was Glow on at nights, but they also did daytime shows, which they might have been the less risque shows, but there were daytime shows on as well.
Okay. I was about to say they had that on during the day, because I remember. I actually was watching a special on Glow probably about 2 or 3 months ago. It was on, I forgot what channel it was on, but it was about how Glow was literally, the ratings for Glow when it went out of business were extremely good.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that's what that was the thing that was crazy about Glow. Like, ratings were really good when it went out of business because of the Money Man pulled out or whatever. There's a long story behind it.
There is. Have you seen the Glow documentary yet?
I think that's the one I must have seen. If it's not the official one, there was another one. It was like a 2-hour one on. Oh, it's gonna kill me because I think I still have it on my DVR actually, because I watched it twice. I was like, holy crap, I didn't realize that. Like, they show where they are now and everything.
Yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, I went to the opening night for that at a little box theater in Hollywood, and a bunch of the Glow girls were there, and we got to watch the documentary, and then there was a sit down panel afterwards, and then a mix and mingle with the Glow girls, and it was just really, really cool to see the documentary and understand what they went through, and the trainings they went to, who their trainer was, and just how it fell apart. And it's kind of sad how it fell apart, especially because it did have such, it had that high ratings, but it's wrestling.
Yeah.
And everything could fall apart in a minute, and just all you need is that one person to be like, nah, I'm done, and that could be a backbone. So. And
it crumbled, unfortunately. Yeah. It unfortunately crumbled. So no, I definitely remember that, and it was Glow was very entertaining back in the day. So I gotta ask you about this whole diva term, because I'm with you. I can't stand that term. I hate it. I watch it and I'm like, why can't they just call? And of course, WWE, the leading company, everybody's gonna follow their lead, but why the term divas? Why can't we say ladies or women's wrestler? It just kills me. So I know you don't like that term. So go ahead and talk a little bit about your feelings on that term and why you feel that way. I think I know, but I want the listeners to hear it.
I don't know. It's hard to say what I actually have against being called a diva. I can tell you a story. I am from Santino Brothers Wrestling Academy, which is called the Elite Pro Wrestling Academy in California, and that's because they have very, very high standards to get through their courses. You have to go through a whole, it's probably a year-long course, but you're not just going 1 day a week. You're going multiple times a week for this place.
Yeah.
And out of their 2 females, or now 3, I believe, have graduated, I being one of them. But at that, they teach us there at Santino's, it's like you're not a female wrestler, you're not a male wrestler, you're a wrestler, period.
Yeah.
You know, at Santino's, we have to do the same things the guys do. Whether we, you know, do it successfully or not, or whether anybody does it successfully or not, we have to get out there, we have to try it. Maybe it's something that our weight or our physical abilities we just can't do. We still got to try it. The point is, female wrestling and male wrestling's trainings are the same. At least where I'm from, and from a lot of the girls I've talked to, it's exactly the same.
The reputable schools, they are the same.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree.
So then, what's the difference? The term, and it kind of sucks that the diva term in WWE got so jacked up, especially during the Attitude Era, with a lot of the bra and panties match or the schoolgirl match, you know, the strip down matches and stuff like that. And, you know, it took that diva image and it just kind of degraded it. And I hate to say that, but and then they started, you know, just trying to get by, in my opinion, that if you have the looks that you could do it. You know, let's find a supermodel and put her in some skimpy gear and, you know, give her as much so she could get out there and get through 3 to 5 minutes.
No, that's basically what happened.
Yeah. I mean, and so basically just, I feel like the term diva just got debased and degraded. And at that, you know, and I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to catch a lot of heat for this too. I don't even like I realize that the fans want the distinction to know that there's going to be a female match on versus a male match. They want to know we're going to have female wrestlers. But the whole thing is we're wrestlers, period. When you look at, you know, when you look at sports, just sports in general, take baseball, for example. Well, maybe not baseball. In football, if there's a female on a football team in high school or whatnot, they don't call her a female football player. They call her a football player. You know, it's just like a distinction. So when you say that, you know, you're a female wrestler, I get it, and that's probably about as good as it's going to get, being called a female wrestler. But it's kind of nice to be just called just a wrestler.
I got you. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
The huge thing I hate too, and you could find some video of me actually saying this. There was a match between me and Kikyo. She's from Northern California, down here in San Diego. And when we came out to do our match, we were announced as a special attraction women's match.
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
I don't know, but after
like,
the match, I got heated and I got on the microphone. I was like, you know what? We'll come back here and we'll do this again when you stop announcing this as a special attraction, because the fact of the matter is, when me and Kikyo went out there, we did what we do. We beat the crap out of each other. We suplexed the crap out of each other. You know, we made sure that we went balls to the wall, without balls, but we went balls to the wall and gave the fans exactly what they wanted to see. Now,
right.
That had been a guys match with just 2 male wrestlers that aren't, you know, anything elaborate or special or not a superstar. They would have just called a match. The next match, the next singles match. But the fact of the matter is that we have a vagina and boobs. We're a special attraction when we're not, because we did the same training. We've gone through the same crap. We've traveled the same roads. We've gotten in cars for X amount of hours at a time for, you know, sometimes very crappy paydays to do what we do. And I'm not sure why that makes us special. I don't know if it's because there's just so few female wrestlers, but that's almost, you know, that's verging on very offensive to me as well, because it's, I don't know, maybe I'm complaining for the wrong things.
No, it makes sense, because it's kind of like okay, I'm a big football fan, and I remember one time when someone said, you know, there'll be progress when, I think Doug Williams said this, because he was the first black African-American quarterback to, you know, win a Super Bowl. And he was like, there'll be progress when nobody makes a big deal about it anymore. Like, I kind of equate it to the same thing with, like, WWE. The first time you actually, I don't even want to say WrestleMania, but the first time you ever actually have a WWE pay-per-view, not a NXT event, but like a WWE pay-per-view where 2 women, you know, are the main event, and nobody really makes a big deal about it, that's when you know that what you're talking about is no longer happening, where it's looked at as an attraction or some type of special.
Yeah.
I can't believe somebody would actually say attraction. That's like worse than diva. That's like almost like you're some type of,
It's like
anomaly.
it's almost like a sideshow or something. And now for a attraction. Oh, okay.
Yeah, like okay, so like an attraction, like okay, so you're rolling out the bearded lady like they used to do. I don't know. I mean, I'm making stuff up in my head when I think about it. Like I would, I've never actually heard anybody do something that disrespectful. So that's why I say that. So yeah, no, when I was thinking of diva, I wasn't even thinking like that type of term or disrespectfulness that you would have heard. I know just in general, the women that I've known in this industry, women deal with a lot of crap. Just in general. You can talk about it if you want, but I know from the women that I know and have been around, they deal with some things that men never have to deal with.
Oh, so much stuff. So much, and there's not even the words to describe how much stuff you deal with. Between, crazy creepers hitting up your Facebook or your emails or your Twitters or whatever, to, discrimination because you're a female, to, I don't know. There's so much. And I say this, I said this to the girls that come into Santino's to train, is that as a female wrestler, you will have the hardest time, but at the same time, you could have the easiest time. It's so hard because of all the stuff you got to deal with, the sexism, the being treated different, the being, sometimes made to feel like less than a wrestler, that you're just a piece of meat or whatever. But at the same time, there's so much easier too, because there's so much less of us out there. So it's easier to find, bookings because, we want a female match. And, in Southern California, there's like 5 to 6 females that work on a regular basis in the Southern California area. So at the same time, it's so much harder, and so much easier as well. So it's I don't know.
It's got its pros. It's like I don't say most things, but it's got its pros and cons. Like there's a benefit to it. Because like if you're like you and you're successful and you're talented, there's probably more of an opportunity to get work than, because there's so many guys out there, especially now. Like I see the indies, there's so much talent just across the country, not just in any one location. So when you're a good female, and you really know what you're doing, there's not as many of you, and I would guess, it's a little bit, it can be a little bit easier, but at the same time, like you said, that break-in process, and I've seen the stuff that women deal with. I know a few, and they've screenshotted some things and sent it to me.
I have so many screenshots, it's ridiculous.
I'm like, what the hell kind of freaks do you have to deal with? Good God. Some of the stuff these dudes come up with.
All kinds.
It's freaking scary is what it is. I'm like, what?
Oh, no, it's scary. I've been stalked before. Like, I've learned not to RSVP to events that I'm going to, because I've actually had wrestling fans stalk me to events. I've had people, like send me the creepy messages and then wound up somewhere and someone's like, doing the deep breathing. Hi, I messaged you on Facebook. I saw that you were going to be here. I'm like, no more RSVPing to events unless they're wrestling shows.
Yeah, that's the type of stuff dudes don't have to deal with. But
no, they do. They do. Don't get me wrong. Guys actually, not all guys, but I know a lot of guys that have to deal with that stuff, especially the very cute, smaller guys.
Oh, okay. No. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
They can deal with it. Maybe not at the same levels that we get to deal with it, but I'll just put it this way. I usually carry a knife on me. And I'm very aware of my surroundings when I go out, even when it's just here in LA.
Yeah, I can understand that. No doubt about it. That's crazy. I'm telling. I've seen some screenshots, and I'm like, wow. And I think it's funny because, like, the women that I'm friends with on Facebook that are in the business, like I love when like y'all post them, like y'all put the people on blast. I'm like, oh yeah, that's it, because you just start rolling and laughing. You like, you read it and you shake your head and like, oh my god, what the heck?
Oh, hell, let me put this out there then, and in case any of those types of males are listening to me right now, I have and have no problem Facebooking your wife or girlfriend if you send me a really bad message. I screenshot that and I send it to your wife or girlfriend. So just putting that out
better.
there.
Yeah, for real, even better, because you know probably, well, I don't know what percentage of them are tied down, but I'm sure it's at least half.
There's quite a few.
Yeah, I can imagine. Hey, so all right, I've seen some of the videos you posted recently, and man, you lay it in. That's all I'm gonna say. But that's cool. Like I like that. I'm like, oh yeah, she's freaking pounding that woman, or dude. So I've actually mentioned you a few times on this show, as like up and coming female wrestlers that I know of. I mean, I'm using the term female only to differentiate because I'm asked a question,
Yeah.
Female wrestlers that are popular, so I'll name you. Is there anyone, I know you trained at Santino, but is there anyone that you like pattern yourself after, like when you were coming up in training, where you were like, yeah, I kind of like their style, or was it, nah, not really, I kind of want to do my own thing?
As a manager, I actually molded myself somewhere between Sherry Martel and Heenan. But it was actually the works of Kana that really drove me to want to be like her as a female wrestler. Getting into Santino's, however, I learned that not that it wouldn't quite be my forte, but due to my size and due to my height and due to my strength, that it would be a lot smarter to work to those advantages. And honestly, and this is going to sound cheesy, I actually modeled myself after a lot of the guys here in Southern California who I look up to and who I admire. So I would watch stuff from like Tito Escondido, Rico Dynamite, Che Cabrera, Tyler Bateman, obviously. It's actually, I drew a lot of my inspiration and I drew a lot of my stuff from the guys here in Southern California because I'd watch them and they're around me, and a lot of them are from Santino's, and it was just, it's a matter of me being inspired by those closest to me and seeing what they do on a regular basis and seeing that, what I like from them and taking from them what I can and making it my own.
All right, yeah, I got you. Did you now I might ask you a question. Did you have to do my girl Trina Michaels like you did her a couple weeks ago when you like busted that? God, yeah, that was pretty brutal. Dang, Ruby, I mean, Jesus Lord. I was just thinking about that when you were talking about patterning your style. I'm like, and she's strong, and I've seen her lay it in. Wow, did she really have to do Trina like that?
I had to do Trina like that. There's actually a full 7-minute clip where she's just sitting there talking shit about AWS and how AWS couldn't stay afloat and how AWS is so inferior. And honestly, AWS is, besides Santino's, AWS is the reason why I've gotten any traction, because the promoter, Bart Kapitsky, put such a highlight on female wrestling here in Southern California that he opened a lot of doors for the girls here, including myself, and gave me amazing matches, such as against Lufisto, against Willie Mack for the AWS Championship, and I believe I'm the second female to actually go up for the flagship championship, against Tito Escondido, against Crystal White, got to partner up with Leah Von Dutch, yeah. But, yes, so I had to do her dirty because...
Man.
I had to do her dirty because she was talking crap about, one of the promotions that really helped make me. And AWS has such a huge spot in my heart, right next to Santino. Santino's is my home, but AWS, they really helped me out so much. So I'm sorry I had to smash an adult actress. I'm sorry I had to unbutton her shirt and gave her a razor chop.
Man, I saw the pictures. I had Trina on I don't know, it's probably been over a month now, 2 months ago, and I saw her tweet when she was going out to California, and I didn't know what she was doing. And then like literally, I saw another tweet that I think she was on that show with you. And then like the next day, I saw the tweet, not the tweet. It was either tweets from you or on Facebook. I was like, good Lord, a whelps on that woman's chest. Damn, I'm glad I ain't working the indies anymore because I don't want her chopping me. Yeah, that was pretty brutal. So I just had to throw that out there when I saw those pics. Because I see the pics you posted. I was like, God darn. Hey, so tell me about I did see your pics from, was it, oh God, it's slipping my mind now. The big show it was like 5,000 people there.
The
Crash. Yeah, okay. Crash. That had to be pretty damn awesome.
That was ridiculous beyond ridiculous. That was
really like nerve shot type ridiculous, or you were just really looking forward to it, and it was like, wow, I'm here.
I don't even know if it was nerve shot ridiculous. Like I had actually been talking to the Crash throughout the summer, and then when someone got a hold of me, and was like, hey, here's a spot at the Crash. Do you want it? And I was like, yes.
Right.
Yes. And I was talking to the promoter. He's like, are you bringing anybody with you? I said, no, I'm probably going by myself. He's like, are you sure? Because this is going to be a big show. I was like, so in my head, I'm thinking like California level big show. Like we're going to have a couple hundred people there, whatever. And then he's like, it's going to be a big show. We're expecting like 5,000 people. And I was like, oh.
That kind of big, yeah.
Oh, that big. And then he tells me where it's at, and it's like at the auditorium in Tijuana. I was like, oh, that legendary place. Oh. I think that was, and I wound up, I said yes, let's go, let's do this. And I think it was like the next day or 2 days later, I went to my training with Los Luchas at Santino Brothers, and I told them about it, and they were just like, oh my God, who's in the match? And I told them who the match was against. And the first thing they said to me is, everybody in that match only speaks Spanish. I'm like, are you kidding? Because I know some Spanish. I don't know how I'm going to get to talk with them. Yeah, and so basically I had about a month before I was going to go, and I was just like trying to brush up on all the Spanish I could get and all this and that, and just like I literally put like I don't even know what I got myself into. Why am I doing this? I get there, we get to Tijuana, I walk inside and I just look around the auditorium, I'm like, oh my God, literally what did I get myself into? But there was some comfort knowing that Ray Horace was going to be there, and Bestia. Bestia is a buddy of mine, and I hit up Bestia. I'm like, hey, if I need help, please help me. So it was top to bottom. It was ridiculous between being in a honest to God, legitimate lucha libre locker room and environment, which was completely different than how I feel Southern California lucha libre is, to even just walking to make the entrance. There's this huge walkway, and as soon as I took steps out, and I'm like, there's a Titantron behind me, and I'm on it. There's my name in these lights. The only word I could think to describe it is ridiculous and deafening, because the sound in there is deafening with all those fans. And we get to the match, and we're doing the match, and there's honestly, at some given point, it just all blurs out, and all you see is the first two rows, and that's it. That's all you see. And you can't.
Because of the lights you're talking about, or yeah.
Oh, it's just.
I mean, you see the it's dark in the arena, right? But the ring and the first two rows you can see because of the lights, but out beyond that, it's just you can hear it, but you can't really see it too much.
Yeah, and it becomes tunnel vision because you know that you're in front of so many people, but you have a huge responsibility to fight your fight and get out there. And I'm in there with some amazing people. Some, Taya Valkyrie, the AAA Women's Champion, is the girl on the opposing team. Cybernetico is on the opposing team. I'm with Psycho Clown and, Pimpinella and stuff. Like, Mamba was on the opposing team. It's just like, I'm in here with such amazing people. I just need to fight my fight, not mess up.
Right.
but I would do it again in a heartbeat. Like it was hot and it was sweaty and it was smelly and it hurt when I got chopped. And it was confusing because I've never worked that style of lucha libre, and it was probably, honestly, in the few hours I was there, I learned so much that I could have never learned being here in Southern California. And I'm forever grateful to, the promoters and definitely to my teammates and the opposing team for everything.
No, that's cool. That's good to hear. Like you talked about the locker room, like in the differences in that locker room versus, Southern California or even, other places in the States that you've worked. Like what would you say was the biggest difference? Besides maybe language, I don't know.
Besides not understanding anything anybody said.
Yeah, besides.
I don't know how to say this properly. It was just very, very lucha libre and very, very, very relaxed. Like almost relaxed to the point where I started getting anxious because it was so relaxed that I didn't quite understand.
Too calm.
Yeah, it was too calm and it was too relaxed. And, I felt myself getting not frustrated, but like antsy and very worried. And, my teammate just kept telling me, she's like, you're overthinking it. You're overthinking too much. Just calm down. You're going to go out there. You're going to wrestle. It'll be fine. But I'm like, but I don't know what's going on. I don't know this 2 out of 3 falls. How are you going to work? Just okay. It's okay.
Yeah, breathe.
I'm just like, they're so relaxed. I don't understand. But it was, honestly, it was really good. And I feel like it gave more of a leeway to go out there and just fight and just be a wrestler, and do what you do and do what you know. But the points to getting there, the steps to getting there were very nerve-wracking. But then once you get out there, it's like, oh, well, I'm a wrestler. I know what I'm doing. Okay.
Yeah, like that. It just kicks in. You're before you go out, it's like there's some nerves, but the minute you're out there, it takes less than 10 seconds and you're like in your element. All of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I can be normal now and it'll be okay. It's hard to explain. But you do settle down. I know what you mean. It's crazy how you get wound up and then you get out there and you're like, all right, I'm okay now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
All
right.
The goal is to
go
live
ahead.
in the moment. So go out there and live in the moment.
For real. Okay, so like I was saying, when I set this up, I had no clue you were heading to New Orleans, and we're recording this on October 14th, so this will probably air. I'm gonna move some stuff around. I'll make sure that this will air prior to that show, the Wildcat show. So yeah, I set this up not even knowing that was about to happen. It just happened where I'm like, oh, okay, well now she's booked on that show. I was bringing her on because I figured I needed to get some more visibility out for the folks in California and get my show out there and then get some ears on what you're doing as well. And little do we know, you're working in New Orleans in a month. Well, when this airs, it'll be November 14th. So this will probably air about a week before that. So do you know who you're working yet, or that's still up in the air?
I believe, and don't quote me, but I believe I'm in a 3-way match with Katie Forbes and Amaya Jade.
Oh, God. Oh, they gave me hell last time they were on my show about that because I just they were messing with me about a bunch of stuff. Katie was messing with me about Trina and some stuff that I talked to Trina about. Now Maya was messing with me because I was fumbling through the interview. But you laid it to them last time in California, so
I did. I got to meet up with them in June out here in California. In a three-way tangle as well, and
I've seen the video.
that was really, really fun. They were still very new.
Yeah.
And it was very, I don't even know how to describe it. I really, and you don't take this as a slight, Katie, but I really enjoyed working with Amaya. Because Amaya seems to have the same fire as me, where if I'm going to get hit, and then I'm going to hit you back, and you're going to hit me back harder. I'm going to hit you back harder than that. it was really nice going back and forth with Amaya on, stuff like that. And Katie was also really cool. She was very, willing to get out there and do everything that she could do. And obviously she brings the sexy flair to the match, and she has her own style, and she's very, not I don't know if flamboyant's the word, very grandiose.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah. It's a certain style, like you said. She brings something different to it. That it's actually a good combination. That you bring something to it, Amaya brings something to it, and then she brings that Flair type style.
Yeah.
Not Ric Flair, obviously, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Woo!
Yeah.
But it was really nice, and I had told the people at Santino Brothers, like, I one of these days, me and you are gonna get down, just me and you, like, and it's gonna happen, and it's gonna be a slobber knocker, and we're gonna go and we're gonna beat the dog piss out of one of each other. I'm looking forward to that eventually.
Eventually.
Wait your turn.
Well, yeah. Well, whatever happens, I'm actually, I was probably going to make a trip down there, so I actually think I may be at that show. So if I am, I'll say hello to you. But I would be looking forward. If it ends up being a three-way dance, even if it ends up being just you against one of them, I'll be looking forward to it. Because like I said, I remember that video I watched on YouTube. Yeah, you were, like I said, I've watched you put it to a couple of people, not just women. That's why I say people.
Oh, no. I actually wrestle more guys than I do girls lately.
I know. That's why I said that. That's why I said people. That's exactly why I say people. Hey, we're starting to wrap up now, so I'm going to give you some time to go ahead and plug. I know you're on social media. I know you do Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. Didn't you just set up like a fan page on Facebook, or was I just got the invite recently?
You probably just got the invite recently.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was new or not.
I don't
yeah, go plug all your stuff.
I'm a jerk.
No, it's okay. Go ahead and plug your stuff.
So for anybody listening, you could find me under pretty much any and all social media as Razor Pops. That's RAZERPOPS, Razor Pops. That be it on Facebook, on Twitter, on Hello, on Instagram, on, I don't know, name a social media. I'm on it. Periscope. Yeah, I'm on there too.
I was going to ask that one if you're on Periscope.
Yeah, Periscope, Snapchat, Razor Pop.
Okay.
You could add me on anything, and I'll add you back so long as I have capacity. You can also find my Facebook like page under the name Raze, R-A-Z-E. If you want to, I only have like 8x10s and buttons right now because I ran out of everything else. If you want to, get some Raze merch, it's razorpops.bigcartel.com. If you want to look up my YouTube, it's Razor Pops. And I post free matches up there for you guys to watch. So there's stuff from me and Candice LeRae, or me versus LuFisto, or me versus, I don't know, name someone. Katie and Amaya. That's up there.
Yeah.
Everything's up there. I try to give as much to the fans as I can to make sure that they stay satisfied and you guys hang with me and, let's have fun.
I hear you. So like I said, if you're in the New Orleans area, coming up on November 14th, you can catch her live there. You got anything coming up? Like I said, this will air. Just say this will air on like the week before, the 7th or so. I don't have a calendar in front of me. You got anything coming up right after that or around that time as well that you want to plug?
Let me see. Oh, actually, no. I can say this by now. The bookings that you have to keep secret. But on November 7th, I will be the second female to be involved in All Pro Wrestling. That's APW's Young Lions Cup. November 7th up in Pacifica, California. It's somewhere in NorCal. And as for those that have, followed wrestling to anything, then you know the name APW, All Pro Wrestling. Beyond the Mat, Roland. You'll know that spot. Obviously, I'll be at Wildcat Sports November 14th. The day before Thanksgiving, if you're in Southern California, you can find me at Brian Kendrick's Wrestling Pro Wrestling That's the day before Thanksgiving. So get out and blow off some steam before you got to sit down with your family. And right after
I'm
that,
sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but yeah, you know,
no, it's true.
sometimes your family will drive you nuts. Yeah, so you blow off some steam right before.
Yeah, it's true.
I got you.
Right after that, November 28th, I'll be up in NorCal again in Gilroy, California, for Premier Wrestling to do battle to hopefully be crowned Premier Wrestling's first female champion.
All right. So you got a lot of stuff going on, and that's just, like I said, that's just in November. We ain't even talking about October since by the time this airs, that'll be gone. So
Right,
y'all heard it here. I don't know how many of these you've done before, Ruby, but I really appreciate your time and giving me some time for the podcast and jumping on with me and just talking some wrestling and what you got going on. And you are always welcome back whenever you want to come on. And if you know anyone that wants to come on, I will be glad to have them. Just tell them be patient, because you can only get to so many people at a time. So, but yeah, no, I really appreciate you. What's that?
You're keeping them waiting.
Keeping away. But no, I really appreciate you jumping on with me and talking a little bit about what you got going on and your past with the wonderful sport, because I don't call it sports entertainment, wonderful sport of professional wrestling.
Absolutely.
So, Ruby, hang tight real quick while I stop this. And fans, I'm going to throw it over to the review portion of the show that we do where we take your listener questions. You know how we do it, me and Doc Turner and Hard Body Harper, so hang tight.